B3C2, Sexy Dynamite 2, designed to use the neural transmission catalysted J-Zyme as much as possible. While in contact with J-Zyme, the weapons and controls should be manipulated at will. The pilot is totally immersed in jelly tissue, with only the bare necessities for life support. However, most humans reject the process, and a special training school was established. We have the Sexy Wave Cannon 2, developed to increase the J-Zyme volume and increase weapon power, although research. And the Sexy Force. Like the fighter, it is made of a jelly-like Bido substance called J-Zyme. The substance has the uncanny ability to perceive and transmit the pilot's will. It doesn't have anything fancy bit-wise, though it can equip the standard Bido-type bits. This next stage, I actually tried to attempt with several different Bido ships. I wanted to use a Bido ship, but I did not have any luck. This boss can eat it. The stage is not hard. The boss is a nightmare. Here I was thinking maybe I could just kind of plink them with these, dodge around the blue things. This was not a strategy that was going to work in the long run. Maybe if I can hide directly above it, rain down onto it. Do some minimal dodging. No. Maybe let's try with red. Too much movement. Too hard to get a bead on the actual boss, given how much dodging I have to do. I hate this boss. Stage 6.2. This is our next stage 6, and I've decided to go with the Sexy Dynamite for this one, specifically because of its red laser. It actually has a pretty easy time. Its red is very good, actually. Now, these enemies aren't that difficult to deal with. The one behind you is kind of a pain in the butt, though you can play with him some by luring him to the top of the screen, get directly underneath him to his left, and he'll pause for a long time while he turns around. And then when you move back to the right, of course, he has to pause for another long time to turn around to the right. So dealing with him is a huge pain, but you can also just kind of set him aside for a long time so you don't have to even have to worry about it. Now, as opposed to the red, which is very good on this ship, the blue is hot garbage. I do not like getting this close to my enemies. These enemies shoot out a lot of missiles, but otherwise aren't a lot of a threat. If you have a good means of dealing with that many missiles, they're not that big a deal. Then we have our good friend here, which usually accompanies the, I think it was the Stage 2 boss from R-Type 1, who has appeared in several R-Types. And blue was not going to cut it on that one. Blue was absolutely not going to cut it. I couldn't destroy enough of the segments of him to be able to effectively dodge the Bido shots that come out, especially in getting stuck in that area. Otherwise, dodging around him isn't really that difficult. There's a nice little spot you can get to down here for his final go-around, which you don't need to go to, and is probably harder than it needs to be, but I still do it anyway for some stupid reason. Now, a lot of power armors, putting a lot of items out, these end up being kind of a pain in the butt, because now you have to dodge around them while you deal with these cannons. The cannons shoot out a whole lot of missiles that fall to the left of the screen and then light up and shoot back to the right of the screen. We actually saw these enemies in Final 1. As long as you can keep an attack on their front, they're really not that big a threat. The problem is that it takes so long for the missiles to come around that they can be a threat much later than you expect them to be. And all the while, you still have to dodge the power armors and the power-ups that they drop. So I remembered when I played this game on release, and I played through this stage, and I had a terrible time against this boss. But I remember a secret that I found was getting blue lasers, or in this case red because they're functionally very similar, and hiding out on the bottom of the screen in something resembling a safe spot. So that was my plan this time. At least thus far, it seems to be working. Up until it doesn't. I eventually had to lower it to practice difficulty. Specifically for the boss, for no other reason than this boss. And the only thing that changes in the boss, as far as I can tell, is things take less damage, which means these little blue things pooping out take less damage, which means they can be destroyed before they get to me and cause trouble. The fight also starts with fewer of them, but more start coming out as the fight goes on. At this point, though, this is a safe spot. You can destroy the blue things fast enough that they cannot get to you, so it's just a matter of time before the boss dies. And now we never have to fight him again. BX2, Platonic Love, developed to imitate the changeling ability of the Bido that allows them to shift between extreme plasticity and hardness. More than focusing on combat applications, this unit was developed to explore the nature of this amazing ability. Pliability, not plasticity. Love Sign Wave Cannon. Is this Marissa's Wave Cannon? The final creation from the developers of Dandelion's Flute and the Bido Spirit Cannon is this unusual weapon. To us humans, the condensed energy looks like a heart. Perhaps it is just coincidence, but if not, then what is the meaning of the heart shape? We will probably never know. The Love Force, Heart Attack, Heart Break, Heart Beat, emits laser energy mixed with the waves of love. At least that's what the developers said. There is no evidence to support this claim. This is Marissa's force. Nothing fancy on the bits or bombs, and it can equip the standard Bido bits. Stage 7-2. Center of the planet Bido. I think this stage is neat. I think I remember there being a rumor around release that at the end of Final 1, when you destroyed the core of the Bido, the true core of the Bido planet, that wasn't actually the true core. And the true core was actually destroyed simultaneously here. And that the figures that you saw Dan making out in the background were actually these. This mini-boss isn't terribly hard. The secret is to not get yellow accidentally. I like this ship too, it's just cute. Give you a chance to charge up your shot before they come back, which is usually enough to take out one of the two, on top of the damage that you've already done to them. Taking out the remaining one usually shouldn't be hard if you have red. Also, don't get cornered. Don't be too eager. Got him, though. Okay, let's try this again without getting red. I said without getting red. The charge shot on this is actually really neat, because not only does it do a significant amount of damage when it hits, but it also explodes into a bunch of smaller hearts that rain down. It's shockingly powerful. And it would have been very useful if I'd charged it up for this barrage. If you don't have the firepower to get through this, you just aren't getting through this. Even if you get to the other side, all of those homing eyes, it's... Okay, once more. Keeping red this time. There we go, that's what we needed. And with the damage we'd done before, we can even kill the second guy before he leaves the screen. Now here, charge up your beam. You're going to want to hit them with a charge shot. And the heart charge shot, when especially it exploding into the smaller hearts, is going to absolutely destroy them. Everything that's left you can probably take out just with your regular red beam. That area is just, if you don't have the power to get through that wave, you're just not getting through it. A lot of fodder here as we work towards this weird crabby guy. Be careful, he will grab your force. Don't get too close to him, kill him as soon as you can. Now, once he rotates once, you will pretty much never see that other one again. You can kill them if you do enough damage. I think on harder difficulties, they come out again. But on normal, which I'm playing on right now, once that ball rotates, you will never see that one again. These are a lot of the little goo ships coming out right now, and now we get the odd wave again. Which I recall that Bido can exist as simultaneously as a wave and a solid. Don't stand in front of the ship engines. Okay, let's try that again. Don't stand in front of the ship engines. Perfect. Good job. Once again, these gray guys show up. Now, for being such simple enemies, they always show up in one of the most annoying spots, so I always dread seeing them. Now, you see the little orbs coming out of the bottom? That means you're ready to start dealing with some more bullcrap, because you're going to have more gray guys coming from behind, and a wave coming from the top, and still the guys coming from up below that'll kind of trap you. So the easiest way to deal with this one, at least on this difficulty, I don't know if it works on harder difficulties, is put your force behind you as soon as you start seeing the guys come out of the ground, and just hug down right. Get into that little corner. And stay there until the wave passes. The laser should also die down, letting you get back, and I'll put the phrase back in front of you again. Put the force back in front of you again. I like the hearts that come off of it when you shoot it out. And with that, you're past the worst of this stage. From here, you just need to be observant. Don't stand in front of engines, don't stand in front of waves. The waves all follow pretty much the same pattern. They'll come in, they'll kind of wave up and down once, so they're never going to do anything terribly drastic or confusing. And once you're over here, you can actually start charging up your beam, because that is our boss, the Ebon Eye. Which is where these waves have been coming from, and are its only attack. It did not occur to me that this is intended to be fight like the final boss of many R-type games, where you shoot the force inside and let the force keep doing damage. But that charge shot, getting in there and then exploding onto it, was doing work. Unfortunately, as the fight goes on, there will be more and more of these waves you have to deal with, which will put you into a tighter and tighter position to dodge around. So I was thinking maybe only a level 1 charge shot would work here, because that goes directly in and hits the eye, instead of the charge shot, which looked like it was doing its little heart loop and then going in and exploding against the ceiling or something. I don't know if it was actually beneficial. I don't have a lot of strategy to dodging the waves coming out. Mostly, I just think on my feet and try not to die. And there we go. Now, once again, this was score attack, so no credits, but I did promise you credits. So I played through the entire game again on practice difficulty with my Murderall ship. And let me tell you, the Giga Wave Cannon against this piece of crap was, The Giga Wave Cannon, after its second charge, will actually pierce, and once fully charged to Bido level, will one-shot literally anything. I was debating building up to the Bido shot against the Ebon Eye as well, but opted not. Let's fight him as intended, though, and get our force in there. The Ebon Eye is destroyed. Unfortunately, we got sucked into it. And I would be willing to believe that this wave of Bido energy that's come out is us. Which also makes you think about the other Bido waves. Probably other ships. Maybe even with still some vague semblance of identity. So this has been R-Type Final 2. That is every stage in the base game. I've tried to show off a different ship for each one, though I was kind of picking them at random and maybe by something that would earn me a wallpaper. Now, we still have quite a bit of this game to go, so if there's any ships that anyone in particular would like to see, let me know, and I'll be sure to check them out. So R-Type Final 2 It started out a little rough. It did. I still enjoyed it, even on launch, but it did start out a little rough. But I still love this game. Now, I'm typically not the kind of person that enjoys very difficult games that you have to practice over and over in order to get through it. But I think more than anything, what I enjoy about R-Type is just the idea of the forces and what they can do, and the amount of variety in the shots, and the type of levels and environments and enemies and bosses you can deal with. I think I enjoy R-Type most, though, when I can play it on my own terms, instead of having to die repeatedly to get through it. And there has even now been a pretty significant amount of criticism towards the difficulty of this game. I didn't want to have to knock it down to practice difficulty as often as I did. I didn't want to do it at all. But I'll do what I need to do. And I will say, going forward, we still have quite a bit of game left to play. We have all of the DLC to play through, all of the homage stages. And for those, I'm just playing on practice from the start. Unless there's something that I can show off with a higher difficulty, which I think there is, but I forget where, I'm just going to go through practice from the start. It has been taking a significant amount of time to get me to get through these stages. So I, of course, would quite enjoy being able to play this a little bit more on my own terms, but especially after all the ships and everything that have been added in, there's so much variety in how you play through this. I love this game. Now, the credits are going to go on for a very long time, so I'm going to drop out early. But thank you very much for hanging out with me until now. We still have the homage stages to go, so we're picking up next time with the X stages. These are the Kickstarter backers going up now, and in general, I think the credits are kind of imply more people worked on this game than did, because it would be something like, oh, they would outsource the music. They would hire an external company to do the music. Well, they list the entire employee roster of that company, regardless of how many people actually did the music. I feel like the working cast for this game was significantly smaller than you would expect. And especially with the Kickstarter backers, the credits are quite large. Though I am so sad, even though I did back this on Kickstarter, that I did not think that I would care. But I would love it so much if I could have had my name in the credits. Oh well, sometimes you miss a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Until next time, everyone. Stick around till the very end, or just skip to the end of the video if you need to. There is just a little bit of wrap-up at the very end.
Humanity was on the brink of extinction, but they gathered wisdom and succeeded in overcoming the crisis at great cost. The final mission to cut off the source of roots of unknown life forms continuing to attack from the farthest reaches of the universe was a success, with only one transdimensional fighter and one pilot. Records show that the pilot reported she had successfully defeated the Bido, but there is no record as to the pilot's subsequent whereabouts.